And victims of weekend tornadoes continue to pick up the pieces of their lives. Now, coming up, a closer look at how they are coping and what cities were hit the hardest. But now here's a quick look at Tuesday's forecast. Look for morning showers in the northeast with warm temperatures in the mid-Atlantic. Scattered strong storms will hit the Mississippi Valley with more rain and winds in the Midwest. Good evening and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Kim Perez along with Paul Goodloe.
Thanks for joining us this evening. Let's first begin in the Midwest. We're still dealing with very gusty winds tonight, and even some areas getting some rain. Not nearly as much rain as other areas of the Midwest picked up last night into this morning. Again, a lot of the areas had severe thunderstorms. We had tornado watches up for much of the morning and much of the early afternoon. Those are all expired. In fact, we had a severe thunderstorm watch up that did include the Detroit area. That just expired about a half hour ago. But it doesn't mean that everything has quieted down. We're still seeing lots of showers and thunderstorms stretch from the Great Lakes here into the Ohio Valley, into parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and into the southeast. Kim will talk about the severe threat going on right now in parts of Texas coming up. But first, we'll start here in parts of the Great Lakes, where on the backside of the storm system, had some light snow now heading across parts of northern Wisconsin. Could even see a few wet flakes mixed in parts of the UP of Michigan. But the heavy snow fell last night. We're not expecting any major snow from this storm system left here in the lower 48. As we head on towards Detroit, another line of thunderstorms, still trying to hold together, still trying to head on through Ann Arbor, eventually through Detroit over the next hour. Toledo, same thing for you. Another line of showers. Looks like it's weakening, but we can't rule it out until it's past us. And even then, we'll still have some very windy conditions even into tomorrow. A little bit further on towards the south, we're seeing another line of thunderstorms just now push on through the Circle City here, and more rain is still coming down in Dayton as well as Cincinnati, Ohio, and parts of northern Kentucky still seeing some rain showers and thunderstorms as well. Now, again, we can see because of the fast-moving nature of these storms, maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain, not a heavy rain maker like the heavy rains we picked up this morning in parts of Iowa. Take a look at this video. This is incredible. We're talking about residents here in Davenport, Iowa, near the mighty Mississippi, are still holding their breath tonight. You're looking at scenes from Davenport, Iowa. So far, makeshift dikes are holding here, but the immediate problem is water coming into the city through the storm drains designed to remove the water. The Mississippi has still not begun to recede yet, hasn't quite crested yet in Davenport. Also talked about the winds gusting to 30 in Detroit right now. But even behind that front, the front is past you, we're still feeling wind gusts of 31 miles per hour here in Chicago, 33 in Grand Rapids. So again, the wind still a problem into tomorrow morning, especially in the eastern Great Lakes region. Your high temperatures, one of the reasons why we're still seeing the strong thunderstorms and earlier saw the severe weather. 80s in Indianapolis, Cincy, and Detroit, 70s in Chicago and Green Bay, almost 70 in Marquette. Behind it, that cooler air, highs today in the 40s and 50s, clash of the air masses. Now tomorrow, high pressure moving back in, lots of sunshine for you. Strong April sun will warm up almost everyone into the 60s, pushing 70 in the Omaha region, but the wind's still a problem for at least the first half of the day in parts of Michigan and even in parts of Cleveland and Pittsburgh throughout the day on Tuesday. That wraps up the Midwest here. Now this front, as I mentioned, stretches into the southeast and Texas, giving severe weather there. Right, Kim?
That's right, Paul. And actually, we have a couple of warnings out. Jim Wells and Duval County here in South Texas under warnings right now. We'll take a closer look in just a minute. But again, this front does extend in the south, but we'll talk about its impact in the northeast here coming up in just a minute. But overall, most of us had a great day today. Hot. Oh, it was nice and sunny and a bit humid, though, I think for some of us, getting a little bit more humid if dew points really came up, and I'll show you those in just a sec. But look at this front right in here. Right along the front is where we're seeing most of the heavy rain. That's where the air is converging right along the front. So that's where we're seeing most of that heavy rain. And this part of the front is not moving very quickly, so we've had some very heavy rain out there, too. Out ahead of it, look at these temperatures in the 80s. But actually, as you'll see, these temperatures were not as warm as they were in the northeast. Believe it or not, we had warmer temperatures in the northeast than we did here in the southeast. Part of it could have been because of have? Well, the dew points have really come up. The higher moisture content, the harder it is to warm up that air. So actually here in Birmingham, 61 for a dew point. That has come up a couple of degrees, and we'll continue to see that as our front comes through. The dew points will increase, and then once the front goes through, the humidity or the dew points will start to drop as well. So we're only at 37 here in Oklahoma City, so really feeling the drier air out there right now. But look at Houston, 71 here. It is very humid out here tonight. Showers and thunderstorms out there. Right along our front, we had some heavier rain out there as well. Even some rain heading towards Nashville. Earlier, some warnings off to your west. Those have been allowed to expire. But around Houston, this just continues. Look at this one has developed. Another thunderstorm has developed here. So, yeah, watch out for maybe some gusty winds and some small hail, and, of course, some heavy rain. San Antonio, we've had our fair share of heavy rain. Good news, most of that heavy rain has slipped off to your south and east. So still, I'm sure we're dealing with some flooding problems where earlier, wow, look at this. Folks, pay attention to this. Torrential rains this morning in San Antonio, Texas, resulted in some serious street flooding. Several people who tried to drive across flooded roads found themselves stuck in the fast-moving water. Now, it was a dangerous situation for a while, but officials say no one was injured. But that's why we always tell you, don't cross a road that's flooded, because you just don't know how deep that water is. If you're not familiar with the road, of course, it's even worse. Now, we're going to see an additional inch or so out of this evening. So, yes, maybe some isolated flooding problems here in East Texas. And by tomorrow, our front moves to the East Coast. 71 here in Atlanta. Maybe a few thunderstorms possible during the day tomorrow, which we could use the rain. New Orleans, thunderstorm 75. Orlando, 87. Your forecast tomorrow. No rain tomorrow. It is going to be dry, dry, dry. Wednesday, we think you have a chance of rain. So maybe if you're heading to Florida, do go to Disney World tomorrow. Tomorrow might be the best day. Wednesday, there's a chance of some rainfall. Now in the Northeast, again, hot clouds coming in here ahead of our front. We have really warmed up. 88 in Philadelphia. That didn't break your record, but we broke a record in Washington, D.C., actually at Dulles. I believe at 87 degrees today. And Syracuse broke a record as well. So very mild temperatures. Charleston, your high was 90 degrees today. Tomorrow won't be as warm as clouds will come in and rain will come in as well, and the chance for a few thunderstorms. But by the evening commute, most of that rain should be over with. So that takes care of this storm system. Now let's go to the west with Paul and find out if there's any storms headed their way. Paul?
Well, here in the Pacific Northwest, we're dealing with some scattered rain showers out here. Things are quieting down right now, but high pressure in control of the rest of the Southwest, warming you up, also giving you an offshore flow. Again, high pressure in this region, clockwise flow and offshore flow. That's going to warm you up here in parts of Southern California. In fact, it did today. 83 for your high in L.A., 74 in San Diego. That is a warm day for San Diego. But a mild day in Vegas and not too hot in Phoenix yet. Just wait till tomorrow, though. But the Pacific Northwest, a cooler day, 60 in Portland, 59 in Seattle. It'll be warmer tomorrow. But you know what? We could use some rain here in the Pacific Northwest because we have the haves and the have-nots. Usually it's switched around. You think of L.A. and Phoenix, dry areas, while Seattle and Portland, the wet areas. Not so far this year, this rainy season, I should say. We're talking about 4 and 3 inches above in our rainfall here. Nearly a foot behind here in Seattle and Portland. And again, we need this to help generate more power. Hydroelectric power plants here in the Pacific Northwest really can't crank out that much more power, and we need more power for cities like LA. Take a look at your forecast tomorrow. This is a big reason why we need that power. Plenty of sunshine. We are warming up. It's going to be a hot day in the Southland, 85 for your high, but yeah, definitely some of the interior valleys easily into the 90s. That means ACs cranking on all day long. It's going to stay with you, the warm air, the offshore flow for the next couple of days as well. So it's going to be heating up, especially here in the Southwest. We'll be toasting the 100s in a couple of days here in the Valley of the Sun. That wraps up the current conditions. With more on weather news, here's Kim.
Now let's turn to Meade, Nebraska, and some rare footage of a funnel cloud caught on tape. Yesterday evening, a tornado dropped from the clouds, injuring one man. Now, this video was taken by a photographer for an Omaha television station. The twister was only on the ground for a few seconds before dissipating. The storm was moving at about 60 miles per hour. All right. Let's take a look here and see where we have severe weather awareness week going on. And we've been showing you this off and on for the last couple of months. Starting out, most of the South has already had their severe weather awareness. But as time goes on, as our jet stream moves farther to the north, our severe weather actually generally moves up to the north too. So by June, we're typically looking at more severe weather across the northern plains and northern states. So here's our severe weather awareness we have here in Colorado. We have Washington, D.C., and here in Maryland as well, awareness going on this week, which means, hey, we're going to conduct different activities, trying to get folks, ready in case severe weather moves in. So public safety agencies, schools will all be conducting tests. Topics to be covered, of course, floods, hail, tornadoes, lightning, and thunderstorms. Now, I'll show you your forecast for tomorrow. And the good news is, as the front moves east, it does weaken somewhat. The upper level dynamics, all the strength with this storm actually moves up into Canada. So our severe weather threat not as high tomorrow as our front moves off to the east. Now, we're not going to rule out maybe a severe storm or two, but nothing organized. So here's our front, the southeast, looking at some rain. Again, with all that humidity, all that moisture out there, we could pick up a pretty good amount. Hopefully we'll pick up a good amount anyway. Our front moves slowly here in the southeast, finally off the coast of the northeast. High pressure building in behind it. The winds should die down here around Chicago tomorrow. And it is going to be very hot here in the desert southwest. No rain in sight for you folks either. A little bit of rain in the Pacific Northwest, but the heaviest rain will be here in the